What's up, guys? How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Doing good. Still kicking.
Everybody hear me?
Yes,
I can
sir.
hear you.
Everybody knows the routine. As you're clicking on, go ahead and hit that 25K crappie connection. We got a great show tonight. Cannot wait to get it going. I'm just ecstatic over some of the topics and even my fishing report. And I know Kale's been on the water as well. Dustin, have you been on the water?
Oh yeah, I've been on the
Oh
water.
yeah, I know you
Yeah.
was last week.
Yeah, I was here. Let's see, Saturday, I guess. So Saturday was the last time I've been out there and really
Gotcha.
got a hold of them good.
We got a few people clicking on. As you click on, make sure you go ahead and hit that 25K crappie connection. We got Robert, Travis, Tim, Charles Henderson. Mr. Henderson, how are you feeling, sir? I know he had the little accident in the boat about 2 weeks ago and a bunch of staples I know he put on there. So definitely
Dang.
going to send up some wishes and prayers for Mr. Henderson there. Jim Churchill, Ricky, Jordan, Brett, you guys keep pounding it away. Let's get this party started. We got about 67 people watching right now between YouTube and Facebook, and it's going to be a good one. Had a really good podcast with Kale, and Kale, go ahead and do a little introduction to everybody at home that's watching tonight. And
I'm my name's Kale Ward. I live here in southern Oklahoma, and I got a lot. Run Reelin them in guide service. Got on multiple lakes here in southern Oklahoma and North Texas. Kind of about a 2 hour radius here from home, and been doing it. I guess about this is I think my fifth year doing it, uh, and traveling fish a few tournaments and been pretty successful in the guide business and tournament fishing both. So, uh, really about it.
yeah,
What is the definition of a stick? When everybody says
stick.
stick, this is the man right here. Reeling them in guide service is fitting because that's what he does when you go fishing with him. You be reeling them in.
Or slinging them in. I could have been that even, huh?
Yeah, swinging them in will work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it jokes. My guide service is reeling them in, but you can ask most of my clients. Most of the time, I'm telling them, don't use a reel, just boat flip him.
Yeah, just pick them up.
I was looking back through the podcast, and we did a podcast with Kale and actually Mr. Daniel there. We did it together at Grizzly 2 weeks ago, and it's going to come out March 27th is what we got on there. And I think of both these guys that's on the screen with me tonight, and we use this every day pretty much on the water. And I troll some still, but that topic coming out, and like I said, March 27th is going to be what are you actually seeing on live scope, which we're going to even talk about a little bit tonight, but even for future reference for everybody that's watching, if you want to watch another episode in the future with Kale, it'll be on March 27th. Right now, it's kind of what we got it scheduled for. But it was a really fun thing. And, was that your first time to Grizzly Jig as well, Kale?
Yeah, it was the first time I Grizzly Jig. The last couple of years, something's went on. Like last year, we had the Elite Series tournament at the Red River, and we had a Crappie Anglers at Texas tournament or something going on the year before. Maybe I don't remember, but I couldn't make it either.
I got you. Yeah. And what'd you think about it?
Man, it's a great show. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know of anywhere that carries that much crappie based, a store that's got that much crappie inventory, man. That's what's incredible. I mean, and like y'all guys know, everybody sees what's inside the store, but if everybody got to see what they had in stock and back is mind blowing. It's a pretty incredible place.
Agreed.
Definitely a hit list for people who love the sport to go one day if you haven't never been before.
Yeah. Anybody that's big into crappie fishing loves it, and you're interested in checking out a great store, I highly recommend Grizzly Jig.
I got a few people already getting some fishing reports in there. Kale, since you're the guest this week, I'm going to go ahead and let you kick out your today's bite fishing report, and we'll let the stash go second even tonight.
Well, today I was on Ray Roberts. That's a pretty good sized lake here in North Texas, about 50 minutes from my house. Man, and what a lot of people, y'all have probably experienced it some. We've kind of got fish in two different stages. Our water temperature was 48 this morning, got up to almost 50, upper 49s today. And a lot of these lakes have still got what I'd call kind of a true winter pattern, still some deep fish out on the main lake, out on the creek channel, or on some of these lakes where they migrate down towards the dam. There's a lot of them fish. But we've also, even though it's cold, still cold water, we have what I would call staging pre-spawn fish that's already migrated back up the lake. They are getting in the creek arms, and kind of the mouths of them, and they're getting out on the deeper flats and roaming and just eating bait and sunning. And them fish ain't going nowhere till they hit the banks to spawn. I mean, that's kind of what they're doing. And so what I like to do is I like to kind of be in front of the fish. So that's where I'm going to spend all my time between now and the spawn and let it just replenish and reload almost every day. So we started today in that 18 to 20 foot of water, which for us here in Texas and stuff is not deep. To a lot of people that probably sounds deep, but that ain't deep in our world. Water's pretty stained up, and most of these fish are 8 to 10, 12 foot. Like I said, you'll find one or two out of 10s on structure. Most of them are just floating and roaming, not really doing much. This morning starting out, and this is key, I think, this time of year. A lot of the fish were on bottom, and I was seeing fish on bottom. I was seeing them pop up, a lot buried up and sit next to a stump on bottom. But about 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, that sun got up high and kind of started warming things up. Then fish start floating up, and just cover water and pick them up. Not every fish is going to bite. A lot of them still cold and lethargic and ain't cooperating real well. But just move on to the next one. There's plenty of them, and a lot of them are biting. But they are a little bit skittish at times this time of year. The fish coming out of that deeper, colder water and kind of starting to stage up. And some of them's got their own attitude, but for the most part, the bite was pretty fair. I mean, I would say we caught 7 out of 10 fish we dropped on. We could get to bite as long as the bait was presented right. Took us about 4 hours and 15 minutes to put a 2-man limit in the boat, which is 50 fish over 10 inches in Texas. And in my opinion, for February, it's a pretty solid day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. My today's fishing report, we had a lot of rain in central Mississippi over the last 5 days. I'd say probably 7, 8 inches, especially on the upper end where it all flows into the lake. So first thing I noticed this morning, it looked like Grenada water. And what I mean by that is muddy water, fresh water, which is never really a great ingredients, what I would call for a great bite. But it's just one of those you got to work with. First thing I kind of thought about was current. I knew this lake was going to be high, and I knew they were going to let a lot of current come through the lake. So I really looked for areas that I thought the fish would try to get out of the current. It's always my number one thing whenever I'm looking for fish that have a lot of current is where can they get out of the main body of current coming through the lake. First stop, right on the north end lake, right next to the bridge, to kind of get out of the current. Seen some fish in there, but they were real lethargic this morning, and I think it was just because that water's still cold, and as it warmed up, the bite actually got better. But one thing I really had a key in on was a color. I thought a color and profile was real key this morning or today, and the strike zone. We got Dustash coming back in. I don't know what happened to him. But the strike zone this morning today was extremely small. I mean, and I'm talking probably less than 6 inches. And what I would have to do is drop the bait and actually hold it up right still above the fish's head from 5 to probably 12 seconds, somewhere in that range. There he is. And hold it still. And as soon as the fish would notice it, they would start nosing up then. And then as you slowly raise up, the fish would commit and actually bite. I think of muddy water, especially for us, kind of like when I fished over a Kerr Lake the other day. That lake was actually real muddy in my mind. But oranges, and I went to a Grenada Gold and Mud Dauber and just another gold little hair jig as well was real good. But I used what I would consider muddy water, clear, bright, sunny day conditions. I noticed some freaking giants today too. These fish are kind of like Kale said. I think they're starting to pull up and wanting to start getting into a pre-spawn pattern. I seen water today, 55 degrees. So I don't think it's really hit them yet, or they've got all the way adjusted to that warmer water. So I don't think they're ready committed yet to a pre-spawn pattern, but I think it's starting to enter their mind. And I think about the month of February, and these fish want to start gorging themselves and feeding up and getting prepared for the spawn. And that's why these big females, usually once they get kind of stabilized to this water temperature, they're going to get aggressive. And even the bites today, majority of them, whenever they would commit and come up and actually bite it, I would see the client's hand actually shake from the pole getting hit so hard. But the strike zone was extremely small. And, you know, if you passed it too fast and it didn't hold it off on them enough, those fish would just lose interest or not even act like they've seen it. But it was almost like you get it over them, hold it really still, and you see a fish, they'll make a fluttering motion. And if you've got live sonar, you know what I'm talking about. They'll make a little fluttering motion like, "Ooh, I see it." And then that's when you start raising and those fish would come up and commit. But really good fish today. I've seen some, like I said, some really good fish, and I'm really excited for this springtime. What I've seen on the Barnett over the last couple of weeks is some real, it's going to be a lot of good fish caught in it this year. Tash.
Sure. Yeah.
You decided to join us again, man?
Yeah. Sorry you kicked me out like that. I don't know what's going on, but no, my fishing report's really close to your guys' as well. I feel like it's in the air. You can tell the fish are kind of changing, getting into that groove. I went to a lake in Kansas, kind of doing a little trophy hunting, checking it out. I've got a few trips booked for the upcoming, I guess, trophy season. We're kind of in trophy season now, but just to catch big fish that are starting to gorge and get full of eggs. But we have been catching the fish towards the dam of the lake in deeper water, kind of like in that full winter pattern. They're finally starting to move. The bigger fish are moving towards the feeder creeks and kind of in the mouths of them. And it seemed like if you were near the channel in 10 to 12 foot of water, it was full of crappie. I was kind of trying to get my eye, practice my eye on finding big fish, but you could catch as many as you wanted. And it was the same exact scenario as kind of holding them on their head. You can't swing the bait by, it can't be moving hardly at all. And you can't bring it from behind these fish. You always had to start the bait in front of them or the fish would run off too. Of course, that's probably more of a big fish thing, it seems like. The go-to color for sure was a game changer is the double silver rainbow. It just had some glitter in it. It was a sunny day, but I went through a few baits, and a buddy of mine was there using minnows, and it seemed like the double silver rainbow was the ticket. A live roamer, I had it rigged dead, and when I'd get on top of them, I would slowly let that fall down. And you know, Brad, kind of how it kind of floats down. And if they could catch it while it was coming down on them, doing that little glide, they would just peel up and eat it. Kind of like when we were at Kerr, when you had the Grenada Gold on.
Yeah.
It just was something different that flash was giving them with the sun. So it made a huge difference on the bite. And when they would eat it, they were choking it down and thumping the rod good, knocking it. I had a blast, and I think it's one of the first times in a while I've just went out, fished by myself, and caught the heck out of them. So it was super fun, and I think we caught 10 fish from 220 to 286 was the biggest fish. So it was super fun. Do what?
What'd you say?
I said we caught 10 fish from 220 to 286 was the big fish. Yeah, we caught some hammers. 4 of them were 250 on the dot. 250, 2.5 pounders. So, and that lake's just special. There's more 12-inch fish in it than you could shake a stick at, but there's monster ones hanging around. So we had a blast, and we just worked the channel and the edge of the channel towards the creek. And it seems like they're starting to move a little shallower. The surface water, I think, was 47, 48. So it was definitely getting good. And I've got a lot of reports on certain lakes. I know Brandon Thomas on here was saying he found a lot of Roman fish in Hudson, and it was starting to fire up, that they were sitting everywhere. He was sending me, getting my mouth drooling for what he was finding. So it's about that time. This is my favorite time of year. When they start roaming like this in thick numbers, I'd rather do that than fish any other way. Just chasing a Roman fish is fun and special to me.
You know, I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet or not this year, and maybe it's just a Barnett thing, but today I really picked up on some really big fish were real high in the water column. The 216 or 218 or whatever the big fish of the day for us that we actually got in the boat, it was only about 6 to 7 foot up. nobody else up there. I mean, it was completely by itself, and I spotted it far away, and we went up there and caught that fish. And then, but it seemed to me that these black crappie were shallower today in the water column, and also the bigger fish. I don't necessarily understand why, but it was a unique pattern that I got to set up today, and kind of been. I fished the res last Friday and seen a lot of roaming fish, and they were really good fish, and they really were just real lethargic. But today, if I keyed in on the higher water and column fish, I could get them to bite. And kind of like Dustin said a minute ago on presentation, one thing that, if I get a client in the boat and we drop down on, and all of a sudden we've got to push up to the fish, one thing that I always try to avoid, guys, and if you're doing this on your live scope, this will help you out, is keep that jig up above that fish. It feels like to me, if you come in the same level or below that fish, they seem to fill it up. Do you see that as well, Kale?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Today we had that a bunch of times, like get that bait down and even present it, in my opinion, like what Dustin said, on his head side, and get that bait down. What I'm telling all these fish, because our water, we've got a lot of that rain. Our water is stained, and these fish are cold. So I tell all my clients, once we get the bait on their nose, I tell them to shake it. And what I mean by that is we want to create vibration in that jig to make him feel it and get that fish's attention, make him react. And what I noticed today, if that bait got down like eye level with him, fish sitting here and it's eye level, when he got the flutter and reacted, he would kind of push to it, but he'd never eat it. You got to keep that bait up enough. And like today, there was a happy medium. If that bait was up, I would say above 8 to 10 inches above him, he just kind of ignored it. But you had this little sweet spot where I would say 4 to 8 inches above him, to where once you got it and he kind of fluttered up, I mean, the minute he seen it, he would kill it. And that's it's real important, I think, to not even get that bait eye level.
Yep.
Kind of one of my neck picks that I've always told everybody. We've all seen it, we've all done it, to where that fish comes and hits the weight or the sinker above your jig. That tells me you're trying to present your bait eye level to the fish. Most of the time, the first thing he sees is your weight, because that's what's above him. And so, if you got a lot of fish coming to your weight, try presenting your bait, your actual jig, a little bit higher in the water column, and see if that'll help you.
For sure.
Yeah, and and I seen Dalco, who's out there fishing. I seen his boat in the same area I was fishing today too. I did notice these fish super spooky today, and I never did understand why, because the water's so muddy. I don't know if it's just the fresh water just not got them at ease yet to say, but I really thought these fish were real spooky today as well. I mean, if you made a wrong boat slap, all of a sudden those fish would just take off, and I was able to run some of them down and put a bait in. Actually, they would bite, but they were very, very spooky to get up on these fish. And I actually chased one fish, I guess about, I'm going to say 300 yards. And I finally said, I'm going to let it go, because I just consumed myself so much with it, because I could tell it was a 2.5 pound fish or so.
Oh, yeah.
But I should have known. That's one of the mistakes that I look back today whenever I was doing this guy trip, is I concentrated too heavily on a big fish, and I knew the fish was spooked, but I kept on after and after, just thinking if I could get the right presentation. But a lot of times I've learned through the years, especially live scope, but once that fish is really spooked, I can't hardly ever give them a bite. I don't know about you guys. You guys are way better boat control than me, but I've learned if I've really felt like that fish is spooked, the game's up.
Go ahead, Kale.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think some of that spooking that you're talking about, especially in your situation, Brad, you got a bunch of influx of that muddy water. Something about down here when these fish, for one, that go back to you're saying your target size was so small. A lot of these fish, I guess, to me, when that water muddies up, it's a lot of sediment and stuff in the water, which you probably can know what I'm talking about. You can see that on live scope almost. Everything's a little bit grainier and fuzzier. It's not as clear a picture. And I think when we can see that on our forward-facing sonar, and we can see the fish acting different, I think it's the change in water, that sediment. The fish ain't real comfortable. They'll still bite. They're still eating, but I don't think they're in a real aggressive mood. That's why, and then they can't see as well. So that narrows that target down. But because they can't see, and I think they feel and hear stuff, the crappie on most of our lakes, I'm sure in the same way for y'all, in a way, a crappie's still a prey. We got so many catfish and gar and stripers and everything that still will eat. And I think when they can't see as well and they feel, some kind of vibration or sudden noises, it's easier to kind of run from it. Now, a lot of times back in your instance, if you get that bait out in front of him and get it on his nose and he sees it, he's still going to eat. But once that fish kind of feels like he's being chased, and you see a lot of them drop to the bottom and run on bottom and pop back up. And then the minute you put pressure, he'll run back to the bottom. And once you start seeing them like that, I typically, if it's a giant in this tournament situation, I'm going to try him. But my everyday fishing, usually when I see him drop to the bottom, start dropping in the water column, that's when I will give up. Unless it's just a big fish and we want to spend a little time. But most of the time I just give up, peel off, and go find another one.
Yeah. Yes.
I guess
Fish would just have to be a giant for you to try to do that. And sometimes it'll work. When they peel up again, it's almost like an easy meal, but you got to hit them right as they're kind of peeling up and
coming up
right on them. They'll kind of choke it in, but that's a rare, and it's so hard to get a bait on that fish while it's doing that. But sometimes it'll eat it.
I know right now, guys, we're like 108 likes, thumbs up between the YouTube and Facebook side of things. So if you got a second, you can do us a big favor. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Help us out on the YouTube and also Facebook side of things. And I want to throw something. It's kind of geeky as far as what we're doing with you guys that everybody's watching and things at home. I saw a stat the other day that kind of shocked me when it comes to YouTube watchers and what have you. But it had a little quiz for me, and it's asked me what percentage did I think watched the show here on a TV versus a handheld device. And it was really kind of stunning to me. But my choice was like 32%, 42%, and 47%. And I was like, I'm going to just shoot in the middle and think it was in that low 40s. But 47% of the people are actually at home watching on TV tonight. So definitely appreciate everybody doing that. I know it's harder for you guys that are watching on TVs to hit a thumbs up. But if you could hit that little remote over there and hit that little thumbs up as you're watching, it definitely helps us out every week. Also, another thing I want to throw up real quick. We're going to talk about some of the baits that Dustin liked and everybody likes, but if you try some of these new, I almost spilled it about the new colors, but as these guys comes out, especially right now, if you want to try the live roamer, look them at lurenet.com. Got a discount code still going good for you guys. It's Crappie Connection 15, get you 15% off all your Bobby Garland stuff there. So better take advantage of it now before it gets sold out in the springtime, because everybody's going to want to go fishing, just like they were at Grizzly Jig. People are really starting to think about fishing on these nice, warm, sunny days, and the day I had today.
Yep.
Dustin, you want to spill the beans?
Here's what I got to spill the beans. I got to spill the beans real quick about this because I got 2 comments asking about it. I am actually having a baby, and that's probably the biggest news I got for you guys for the longest time until August anyway. So it's due August 18th. I don't even got words. I'm so excited, sick, nervous, everything all at the same time. But hey, this stash has got me a lot of big crappie and women to get pregnant, my wife. And look what else. Okay, so I've got a baby coming. This stash is I don't think I'll ever be able to show you the stash. But I told my wife this has been the best year. I killed big deer, you name it. So shed season is in order. And look at this big old shed spread we found here. Woo-wee. And those are some freshies. Kale, I figured you'd appreciate that. But so we found a pair of those sheds, and August 18th is the due date. So that's the question. A couple of those I've been seeing. Tell me more about the baby. And I appreciate everybody with the congratulations. And I don't even know. Like, it's crazy. I don't even know what to say or think. We went and seen the baby today. The thing was squirming around, and it's just a crazy, crazy feeling. I don't even know. It's nuts. But anyways, the new colors. Brad, you want me to tell them all of it or what?
Well, we'll kind of go do a recap of last week. And we were asked when we went to Praco last week, the Bobby Garland headquarters, to look at all the different colors that they're thinking about producing of the live roamer. And I said, all right, you guys can choose 6. And we were like, well, let's get the people watching on YouTube and Facebook to kind of help us out with that. Because if you can imagine, Dustin and I, we were like bickering back and forth which colors would work better. So it was like, all right, we'll let you guys kind of decide with the comments. And, we got, I don't know how many comments and about the colors, and it was a whole lot. And a lot of people hopefully got everybody mailed out as far as the sample packs. They were mailed out. So you guys should be receiving those soon. And go ahead and spill it, Dustin. I'll let you spill it.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, thank you guys all for the feedback, first of all. And I got messages on people we're going to meet up with, and I'm pretty sure Brad you disappeared for a minute. But anyways, I'll be meeting with some people boat ramps, and I've got quite a few of the colors, almost all of them, and I'll probably get some more from Skylar throughout. And I like how Brad's putting me on the spot here because I only have 3 colors with me here. and one of them is what I'm for sure I know the name of. So that's the best part about all this. And I'm going to show you my favorite one, one that we're keeping. But this is the tadpole, and it's more of a pumpkin color, green pumpkin, and it's a bad boy. It's got a little red flake in it. But
I know it's a boy.
That's a good because it's got tadpole. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now this is the Brad. This is the chartreuse monkey milk. You're supposed to tell me the name of that one.
I'm not letting you off that easy.
I'll put you on the spot there. And then this is the Moglo green color. But the joke's on
Outlaw.
What is it?
Outlaw.
Outlaw. Okay, yeah, that was Outlaw. Good. I'm proud of you, Brad. Appreciate it, buddy. But the joke's on us. They're keeping all 11 now because we got so good of feedback that we're keeping all of them. We were going to have to pick 6. And then I think Skylar, we read all the comments. Everybody's liking them all. So we're keeping all 11. So I guess nobody's going to have to worry about losing any good colors. We got them all.
That was a good thing about it, guys, is we had such a response from everybody. And it was so wide range. I mean, every color got pretty much mentioned in that deal. So they said, well, hey, tell you what, the response was so good, we're going to go ahead and produce them all. So it was kind of a win-win thing and kind of got to fill out. So you guys all make a difference on this show. And what a great sponsor Bobby Garland is for giving those kind of opportunity to us and you guys, the listener, to kind of choose these bait colors. And I can tell you there's going to be a lot more cool things coming down the pipeline that we're working on. And it's going to be a really exciting year.
Brad's keeping some good stuff from us. You all just wait.
Yeah, that's true. But another thing, I know it's Valentine's, and I got a gift for Dustash.
Oh, here we go.
I got a gift for him.
Look, I already been flustered once here talking about having a baby come August.
Mm-hmm. Now I got a gift for him, and I didn't actually buy it or anything else. Somebody sent this to me.
Oh, this should be good.
and I got it in my mail, and I was like, first thing I did was laugh because I was like, this is awesome. I love it.
It's got to be.
Huh?
It's got to be something stash worthy for sure.
It is stash worthy.
Okay, I figured.
It is stash worthy. And I was like, how can I want to give away one of them to one of you guys out there. And I don't know how I can do it. Maybe give me some ideas how we can do a giveaway for one of these things, but I'm going to pop it out. Dustin, are you ready?
You're killing me.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Good. Yeah.
Check out this. Let me get it up there.
You got a ruler. What's it say?
Dustash.
It says Dustash. Yeah, you got to scoot it up. You're so small on my camera. Dude, that is awesome. Oh, my gosh. That is sweet, man. That's what I'm talking about.
The guys at Crappie Ruler come up with this, sent me. I've got an extra one now. I'm going to give one to the Dustash because, I mean, who else needs one? But definitely for you, got to have one. But help me come up with a deal to give away one of these. If you want one of these Dustash Crappie Rulers, help me come up with an idea to do it. Another really cool thing, guys, we're inching closer and closer to our goals. Every show helps out. Every share helps out. every comment helps out. So definitely thank you guys that come on here every week and put in the comments. It definitely helps out things. But we're a little over 48,000 followers on Facebook, which is tremendous. It is very well appreciated, I can promise you. But we want 50. It's kind of like anything else. Like we want more. It's kind of like this ruler here. Everybody wants to catch a 20-inch slab one day. I'd be happy with an 18-inch slab, but it's possible, I guess.
It goes to 20 inches there.
And you got a ruler for it. But
man, that's awesome. I'm excited for that one. I can't wait.
But definitely, guys, if you haven't done it already, invite your friends to like us on Facebook. And it's very easy to do. Just go to the Crappie Connection main page, hit the 3 little dots, and it says invite friends. Do that, and help us go ahead and hit that 50K. We can do it real quick. Like, springtime's going to be awesome here on the show. And I can't wait to keep talking more and more. But